The cults that tortured me, the intergenerational, interconnected KKK, Nazi, and satanic cults, they did so much extreme torture and abuse and mind control, and they murdered. They did so many really horrific things, including trafficking of us kids and teens, and even as adults. But they also used props and elaborate abuse scenarios to convince us of some things that didn't happen, and we could see through it. So, like when they would dress up in alien costumes and pretend that we were abducted by aliens, or when they did fake surgeries on us, pretending that they had implanted microchips or listening devices, where they had all the props and costumes and it looked real and they would cause pain, but we could see through it. When they would teach me, folks inside me, to self-harm, where they had fake layers, like this thick layers, silicone skin, and underneath packets of blood that they had siphoned off me or other kids to make it feel real. And yet it still wasn't real and we could still see through it. When they pretended to kill us with fake funeral and burying us in a coffin after they had drugged us up and paralyzed us so we couldn't move, convincing some folks inside that we were dead, but there were always folks inside me who could see through it. And they even did that pretending to kill two good therapists that we had, even though clearly it wasn't them who they were, they had dressed up the person to be, but they were trying to convince us through mind control not to speak out, not to tell our therapist things. They used so much elaborate abuse scenarios, fake props, combined with torture, combined with mind control, combined with some drugs to convince us that things were true when they weren't, but we could see through it. We knew the difference. And then there is all the actual murder that they did that was real, that we could see on and feel on every sensory level. Like we know the smell and taste of blood, which is disgusting, and human flesh, which is disgusting, and the way blood will spurt out when you've cut an artery, and like everything else. It is so different than what they faked, and there is no way that they look the same. And we could see and feel the difference. But not every kid could. But there was so much murder that they did, and torture. And one way that the cults could do the amount of murder they did was by forcing women or people with a working uterus who are in the cult to bear babies for the cult. And then those kids were not registered. And the cult would kill those babies or allow them to grow up to a certain age. Like so often they would pair us with one of those kids when we were 4 or 5, have a year or two of friendship and bonding, and then kill that child to create even more trauma and more splits and more mind control to keep us silent. So some people don't want to believe, and they want to think that everything is fake, and it's not. It's not fake at all. But even the elaborate abuse scenarios that were fake in terms of someone wasn't actually killed, or we didn't actually cut our arm open, or we didn't actually die, but like so many times they took us to the point of death. But even those bring a huge amount of trauma, and the trauma is paired with mind control messages to control us. So the cult is devious. The cult has researched psychology and torture techniques, and they have so much control over kids, over teens, and then later adults. But there are ways to work through the memories and the trauma and to see through the fake abuse, elaborate abuse scenarios, and see the real ones and work on healing. And it helps so much to have someone that you can work with who has compassion and empathy and knows a little bit about cult torture and DID. But even if they don't, as long as you have someone who can hear you with compassion and empathy, it can help so much in your healing. I hope that helps you too.